Hello, everyone. So, I'm Dr. Taylor. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's called Listening to Dr. Taylor. So, the subject that we're going to talk about is letting go of toxic people. I'm sure that many of us in our lifetime, have been around some majorly toxic individuals, right? And a lot of times we feed on that negative energy and that toxicity of individuals. Even if it's a relative, a friend, or somebody we know, toxic individual will be free from dealing with, listening to it, free from allowing it to get into our minds and begin to be toxic. I mean, trust me, I've been around a lot of toxic people. Okay, I mean, people I don't even know that are this toxic. People in my circle that are toxic. People that are very close to me that are toxic. And we continue to just allow them to be toxic and be around us. But sometimes, you know what, you just gotta cut the umbilical cord and say, you know what, deuces. I'm just not gonna deal with this toxicity anymore. I mean, it's uh, it's everywhere, and I think that when we get to a point in our lives where we say, you know what, that's it. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. I mean, your energy is just too negative for me. We're not judging them or anything. It's just that you choose to be around people who are positive or feed positive energy into you, feed positive energy into the universe. And I think that the moment we let go of all that negative, toxic energy, we'll be able to woosah and breathe. I remember I was just inundated with toxic people, uh, toxic family members. It was just, I just cut them off. They really made me want to move to the moon, like literally, because it was just so toxic. Never have anything nice to say, always negative, always feeding negative energy. And the old saying, misery loves company, but I did not want to be a part of that company. So, I think that, when we find ourselves in situations that are so toxic, a lot of times we feel like there's no way out, but there is. I mean, there's been instances where I was in a toxic situation, and I just, you know what, I'm gonna go do yoga. And so for me, it was a way of freeing my mind because at that moment I couldn't release it. I couldn't get away from it because it was, part of the environment or wherever I was at the time. But you can always step back and give yourself a break. Give yourself a break from that negative energy. You can always walk away. You can always woosah. You can always, go to the gym. You can work out. You can exercise. You can figure out coping strategies and dealing with toxic people, toxic environment, toxic relationships, or anything that you consider to be toxic until you come up with a way of dealing with it or eliminating it. And I mean eliminating it in a positive way, not going out and hurting anybody. I don't mean in that perspective. When I mean eliminating, it means being able to excuse yourself from that environment to where you're in a more suitable environment or appropriate environment or healthier environment for you. A lot of times, like I said, you may feel entrapped and it's just not feasible to get out of that toxic situation. But you're going to have to find gateways or find coping strategies until you can. But, there's always an exit, okay? Because you came in one way, there's always an exit another way. You just have to find out. But, there's always an exit, okay? Because you came in one way, there's always an exit another way. You just have to find out what works best for you. And you have to be at a point in your life where you're ready to eliminate the toxic individual. You can't allow anybody else to tell you, oh, this person's toxic, don't go around them. You yourself have to be in a mindset where, you know what, you're finally saying, I'm done with this toxic person. I don't want to deal with them anymore. And so therefore, I'll see you later. Really. And that's where you have to get. I mean, I've gotten there and it's been great. But guess what happens when you do that? Your circle gets smaller. It gets really small. You can grow it again by moving around, finding people that are like-minded or that are thinking like you or that are on a positive trail, but you may not. But just keep in mind that your circle may get small, but that's okay. You can find other ways of dealing with individuals. You can find other ways of dealing with happiness. You can find other ways of talking to people, you can just talk to random strangers and say hello and walking. There's nothing wrong with that. But just remember that at the end of the day, you freed your mind from all that toxicity. I mean, it probably lowered your blood pressure. It probably reduced your stress levels and all of that. Once you said, you know what, I'm so done with this toxic person, um, I'm out of here. So, I mean, when you think about that, I mean, even in the workplace, I've had people who were just totally toxic, and I just had to literally cut them off and be done with them. Um, it was just too toxic for me, and so I'm not going to judge them if they choose to be toxic. That's fine. It just means that I don't have to make it a part of my life, a part of my circle. And so that's where you have to get yourself at in life. You got to determine what's good for you and what's not. What's healthy for you and what's not. What's going to make you thrive and what's not. What's going to move you to the next level and what's not. If any of those things that are not going to do that, you might want to think about not making them a part of that part of your life moving forward, especially if it's going to hold you back. So with that being said, if you like what you hear, make sure you sign up for my things. If there's something you want to talk about, hey, make sure you make a comment below about what you'd like to hear, what you'd like to talk about. There'll be a lot of segments and things that will come up. I get letters and requests, and people wanting to talk about this and talk about that. And again, this is a talk subject for us to just talk about different things in life, things that may affect us or impact us. Saying leave or get away from the toxic people, what I'm saying is that you have to make that decision, whether that's going to be what you want to do in the next chapter of your life. Whether you want to just, get rid of them. A lot of people do it all the time. Matter of fact, they cut them off of Facebook. They unlike them, unfriend them. Hey, you do whatever you need to do, but you are the ones that have to make that decision, not me. All we could do is talk about it. We could talk about how it affects you, what it does to you, how it impacts you, and all of the above. But at the end of the day, life's about choices, and so the choices you make determines the path you shall take. Have a great night. This is Dr. Taylor. Until the next time.